One of the biggest questions many people ask after a storm, such as Hurricane Ian, is, what do I do now? Well, our next guest is Jan Tracy, who's a spokesperson for FEMA, or the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and she's going to explain all of that. Thank you for being here, Jan.
Thank you for helping us get this word out.
So what is the first thing that happens after a storm?
The first thing that happens is that the governor makes a request to bring in FEMA. The governor has to invite us. Mm-hmm. And once we get that federal declaration, the president signs that federal declaration, then FEMA can actually bring people into the state and start working on the recovery process. We're literally involved in things all the way from urban rescue, all the way through the recovery process to rebuilding the infrastructure, bridges, so everything. But the one thing that we're most known for and what everybody wants to know about is how we can help individuals.
So what is that process? You know, you've had a loss, catastrophic loss, and you've heard that FEMA is coming in to help. How do you get in line for that help?
Okay, the very first thing people should do, be it a homeowner or a renter, is go directly to their insurance company, their flood insurance or their homeowner's insurance, because FEMA does not duplicate what insurance covers.
Okay.
We step in where insurance stops. So for uninsured people or underinsured people, that's where we can do the most good. So the first thing is file your claim with your insurance company. The second thing is you want to start cleaning up your home if you can do that, if you can get in.
Right.
And you can do that, but you have to take pictures, document everything. Take a picture of the water line on the wall to prove how high the water went. Save receipts for anything you purchase to do cleanup, because you're going to need that to get reimbursed. And then contact FEMA and register for assistance.
And how do you register?
Okay, we have 4 different ways that people can register. There's a FEMA app that you can put on your telephone. There's an 800 number you can call. It's 800-621-FEMA. But I will say they've been inundated with calls, so you're on hold for a long time. Mm-hmm. The easiest way is to go to disasterassistance.gov and register online. But that's not really very satisfying sometimes.
Right.
You fill out all the forms, you send it off, and then you sit there and wait and wonder, did anybody get it? Is anybody looking at it?
So what is the average wait time? I mean, are people thinking, okay, I hit send, now somebody's going to call me back in the next hour?
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen, particularly in a disaster like this. But there is a solution. We have disaster survivor assistance teams who are out in the general public registering people. They're in various different locations in each county. Ultimately, within the next week, what you'll see happening is disaster recovery centers set up in each county. And that'll be a place, a physical location where people can go in, they can register there, and they can continue to use that resource pretty much throughout the disaster. It'll be there. They can go in a week later and say, well, what's the status? Or if they've been told they need more documents, that they're missing something.
So let's talk about that part, because there's nothing more frustrating than showing up somewhere and being told you don't have all the paperwork that you need. So what's the list of the must-haves in terms of information people need to bring?
Good question, because this is often what slows down the process of getting your money, is some stupid document. And in a time when people have lived through a flood, as you can imagine, a lot of people have lost those things, or they, who knows where you can find your electric bill or whatever. But you have to have documentation that you own the property.
And what would that be, a mortgage statement?
It could be, but you can also show something as simple as your electric bill, your gas bill, to show that it is your primary residence. Okay. And yes, you'll have to somehow document that you actually own the property, other that you're not a renter, because a renter's in a whole different category we'll talk about. You will need to have both addresses, the address of the damaged property and then an address of wherever it is you're staying.
Okay.
You'll need a good phone number where you're staying. You need a social security number. Okay. And and your insurance documents. You need your insurance policy.
Okay, that is for property owners. Let's talk about renters.
Yes.
How is it different for them?
Yes, because you have a lot of renters down here.
Yes.
A lot of them. Renters, they will not be able to file for assistance for the building itself. That belongs to the landlord, and that is a business for the landlord. So they don't file for assistance through FEMA. They file through the Small Business Administration, whole different system for the owner of the property. But renters can file with FEMA because they can qualify, for example, maybe their automobile, personal property basically, their automobile, their furniture, food in the refrigerator that was damaged,
Anything other than the physical building, pretty much.
Yes, not anything that belongs to the landlord, like the refrigerator, the stove, that would all be on the landlord's application. But for personal property, the renter can file, yes.
So that website is disasterassistance.gov, not .com, .gov.
Right.
And that registration process is probably the least amount of hassle right now in terms of getting people into the system.
It's probably the fastest way.
Okay.
Unless you have a disaster survivor assistance team in your area, and that is an invaluable resource. That would be my first place to start, would be to walk in and talk to somebody one-on-one.
And that's so much more comforting, when you've gone through something catastrophic. Jan, we could talk for half an hour. Unfortunately, we can't, but I think we've given people enough information to at least get the ball rolling. And thank you for coming in and being here with your team.
Thank you, and we'll have updates periodically.
All right.
Thank you.
We will be back right after this. The whole point of this program is to keep you healthy and connected to the people you care about and your community. And as we've heard today, things can happen so quickly. Part of that connection is being prepared and listening when help is there. We'll be here to provide you that information so you can continue to make healthy connections. I'm Annetta Wilson. Thanks for joining us.